So today we're going to use the Line 6 Helix to get John Frusciante's tone. Is it clean? Is it dirty? Is it panned left? Is it panned right? Is it mono? Let's get into it. So yes, when we're listening to John Frusciante, we are hearing two signals at once. We're hearing the left ear, which is the Silver Jubilee, and we're hearing the right ear, which is the Marshall Major. I'm going to show you how to set those amps accordingly and how they work together. So let's start with the Marshall Major. We're going to hard pan this right. It's a darker tone. It's pretty warm. It's punchy. It doesn't have a lot of grit to it, but it gives us that nice warmth that he has. Now let's look at the Silver Jubilee. It's panned left. It's a lot more presence. It's got a lot more crunch, more grit to it. It's still warm though, and it's punchy, but it's got a lot more clarity. And when they work together, they just make a baby. So here we are. I'm going to show you step by step how I set up the dual amps. We've got the Marshall Major and the Silver Jubilee. So first things first, let's set up the Marshall Major. And what amp are we gonna use? None other than, drum roll please, the Brit Plexi Bright. All right, the way we're gonna set up our drive is, what is it, 2.1, bass 10, mids at 8.1, treble we have at 1.7, right? Presence we have a 4.1. This is going to be our darker amp, so everything's going to be a little bit dark. And then we have the channel volume all the way up to 10, the master all the way up to 10, sag. I like to turn it off because I don't like the weird phasing. I don't know what it does, but I don't like it. It's supposed to make it feel more real, and the compression and the punchiness feel more like a real amp, but the amp that I'm using, it doesn't sound good. But anyway, the ripple, the bias, and the bias X, I'll leave those alone. And we're using the 4x12 greenback here, over here, and I'm using the 57 dynamic. We're gonna keep it on the cap edge, distance at 1. We're gonna set the 45-degree angle on this one to make it a little bit more darker. If you have it set at 0 degrees, it's got a little bit more punchiness to it, a little bit brighter, but we want it dark. And then we're gonna leave the low cut off, and the high cut, I have it at 1.3, which sounds like it would be really dark, and you're right. Since we've got that set up now, we're gonna select it, and this is what that amp sounds by itself. It's got some punchiness to it. It's got some low end. It's got just a little bit of grit. And that little bit of grit is going to go a long way. But it's not perfectly clean. You can hear the... You can play clean. Or you can kind of dig in. Perfectly clean amp, it wouldn't do what it needs to do with the DS2, which we're going to do on the next video. All right, so we've got our first amp set, ready to go. I'm going to move that over one, sorry. All right, so now we are going to turn the amp off, and then we're going to select here. We're going to select another amp. And this one, drum roll please, is going to be none other than the Brit 2204. All right, we're gonna have the drive set up at 0.2, and the bass all the way. It's all about the bass, no treble. All right, it's got the mids at 7.7. We've got the treble 1.8. It's a little bit brighter than the other one. Presence, got it at 7, I'll just leave it right there. Channel volume at 10, master at 10. We want that cranked Marshall sound, right? Sag again, I've got it down. Hum, I've got it down. Ripple, bias X, leave them alone. Let me go up here to the greenback 30. Okay, so we're gonna have the 57 dynamic selected. position at the cap edge. Where is that? There it is right there. Distance at 1. We're going to have it 0 degrees to get a little bit more punchiness. The low cut is off, and then the high cut we are going to have at 1.7. That's going to help with that weird fizziness that you get. Okay, we're going to select it. Then we're going to move that one down. We're going to click, and then we're going to move this action. We're going to move it in front of the amp. And we're going to move this point right here, action, drag it down, click it, or tick it. And we're going to select this. We're going to hard pan it to the left. So the Silver Jubilee, the Brit 2204 is going to be the left, and then the Marshall Major or the Brit Plexi Bright is going to be hard panned right. So let's pan that all the way to the right, 100%. Okay. So let's listen to the Marshall Major, aka the Brit Plexi Bright by itself, panned right. Now let's listen to the left amp, the Brit 2204, aka the Silver Jubilee. And now let's listen to both amps together. So that's the foundation of John Frusciante's signal path. You've got 2 amps running in stereo, hard pan left and hard pan right. One's a little bit warmer, one's a little bit brighter. They're both on the edge of breakup. And that's going to come important to our next video when we talk about the DS2.
Turbo distortion!
The importance of the amp being on the edge of breakup and the DS2 being maxed out is very important. And that's going to be our next video, so stick around, leave a comment, like, subscribe, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.